Mudita, a Polish company responsible for a wide array of relaxing e-paper products. A 1999 looking phone, a watch with a vegan band, not actually having anything to do with EINK, and 2 e-paper clocks, the Harmony and the Harmony 2, which was undoubtedly their best creation so far. They've been around the pool for several years now, never quite finding the perfect fit for the e-paper industry, until seemingly now, with the Mudita Kompakt, a minimalist, dumb phone that is supposed to make you almost not want to use it. It comes with a 4.3-inch e-ink screen with 800 by 480 resolution, a 3300 mAh battery with 6 days in standby, quad-core processor, 3 gigs of RAM, 32 gigs onboard storage, and a micro SD card slot. It's got 4G LTE, GPS, and an 8-megapixel camera with dual color flash. It's starting to sound more like a smartphone, as it also comes with an accelerometer, barometer, gyroscope, ambient light sensor, and proximity sensor. But all of that simply just hides beneath the shell, because they don't want you using this phone too much. In fact, they want you to check it, do what you need to do, and then put it down. They even have an offline plus switch that cuts all radio frequency, including the camera, Bluetooth, and Wi-Fi, as well as microphones. So now you know the on-paper side. But how does the unit actually feel as as what it is, which is an extremely blocky-looking phone looking like it came out of 2006? Well, let's dive in and check out the Mudita Kompakt. Thank you to Mudita for sending us these samples. As we showed at the top of the hour with their previous creations, just wanted to give you a little bit of a quick look at their clock. It is a pretty miraculous unit, honestly. The way it is tooled, the way it's built is so perfect. And this speaker is so loud that you could legitimately use this as a house party speaker. It is so blazingly loud, it goes completely under the radar when it comes to the speaker world, is because they didn't advertise it as such. So they don't say, hey, you can get the meditation Mudita Harmony clock, but by the way, you can throw bounce and pool parties. So they didn't advertise it as such. But the way the buttons feel, the top, the little dial, it's just so well built. And that does trickle down into this. Although this looks like something from 20 years ago, as we said, it is well designed and well built. Also, I really appreciate how heavy it is as well. We're going to throw it on the scale really quick to just get a good idea of where we sit in the smartphone world. To give you a frame of reference, an Xperia phone comes in at just shy of $200, a Kindle comes in at $219, and this small little thing is $167. So they did pack a lot into this small shell, and I very much appreciate that. Let's look at the build. We have a flush screen and bezel, of course. I don't even think they make phones that have sunken screens anymore. Now, you do have an e-ink screen, and they did put a protective matte layer on it. And you might be saying, well, that's pretty obvious. Everyone does that. That's actually not true. There are several manufacturers, including Xiaomi with the Ink Palm, that actually don't put a matte screen protector on top, and they leave it to you to deal with this mirror finish screen, which is kind of silly and makes no sense. So you have an earpiece up top, you have a speaker on the bottom, a dedicated speaker. Even some early bigme phones didn't even have a speaker, or Hisense. You have a USB-C, you have a SIM card tray, and you know what? Let's open this right now because actually there's something else in there. And what that is not only you have a SIM card, you have an SD card as well. This thing does allow for expandable storage. You do have volume up and down, you have a power button on the side, and you have a camera with dual degree of Kelvin flash package. So you have a warm light and you have a cool light. And this is the only phone I have personally seen that has 2 different lights, other than one of those Japanese flip phones from 2005. You can also mix the intensities. You can turn one off, or you can turn them both on, or one or the other. It's really, really intuitive. I really like that. Now, the one thing that really sets this apart is this switch on the side. This is the offline plus switch, as we said during the introduction. It turns everything off. Everything. The camera, everything. You just use the phone completely offline, and then when you turn it on, it then triggers everything back. And it is a airplane mode, kind of, except it's a more overactive airplane mode that turns off more than just the cellular and the data communications. Now, just bear with us here for a second, guys. We understand this is an Android unit. We understand you can go to the settings, and just a little tip, if you go into the settings and you tap something enough times, well, then you get something called developer options. We're not going to touch on that. The reason is we're going to show you how to use this device out of the box the way it is intended, not cracking it and putting Snake and Angry Birds on it, because that's not what it's for. May we do that in a future video? Perhaps, but for now we're going to use it as is, so no dev options in this particular video. The home screen is very well laid out, it's to the point. Also, I don't think you guys understand that this is a little bit of an anomaly in 2025. Phones don't look like this anymore. If you see an average standard smartphone, it's going to be littered with apps, littered with games and services and all that. It's also going to be relatively thin, thinner than a chocolate bar. And then you get this chunk, and you're like, wow, this is a chunky dunker if I've ever seen one. And it's devoid of anything. It's got like a few things on there. And that's what it's for. That is precisely why it is made, for that. So you get your phone, which, guess what, guys? It's an actual phone. You can dial, and you can make calls because it's a phone. This is an actual cell phone. I would call this a cell phone. No, it is a smartphone, except it's a severely throttled smartphone. You have SMS, so you can send messages. You can choose your recipient, and you can send a text message to that person. And if you look at that, you even get a QWERTY keyboard. And the QWERTY keyboard is accurate. It's not stacked on top of each other. The rows are staggered. So you can go ahead and make your texting and then send away when ready. You can press the circle button at the bottom to go to the very home anytime, or you can press that to go back, and this is the more button. That's going to be the exact same as the top drop down, which we'll show you right now. Because this is a Polish company, we just left it in Warsaw because it's more fun that way. You get your ring volume notifications and your glow light. You do get a glow light on here, so you can use it at night, thank goodness. And then your lights, we already showed you have Bluetooth, you have Wi-Fi, etc. Now we'll go into settings and just show you what we have here. We have adaptive brightness, screen timeout. We'll try to go through most of these, if not all of these. You have some battery information, security, manage fingerprints, screen unlock passcode. Yes, it does have biometric unlock as well. You have location sharing through weather and maps. We'll show you maps in a little bit. Safety and emergency call. You have system. We showed you that. We're not going to go to dev options. You have language and keyboard. You have a bunch of different keyboard settings. You have languages and styles. You can choose different languages in the future. Currently, there's none on there. And you vibrate on key press and sound on key press. So that's going to be the haptic feedback. When you press something, it's going to go brr, brr, and it's going to vibrate a little bit. And you have text correction, so it's going to ping the internet to give you corrections on your spelling and grammar and whatnot. Date and time is going to be just date and time, local time, etc. And if you go down to accessibility, you get timing control, system controls, vibration and haptic again, power button ends call, audio balance, just very simple things. You know, surprisingly, the hardware and the software wise, they do give you a little bit of everything. You know, they give you a camera, they give you a flash package, they give you an SD card, they give you an accelerometer and a gyroscope and location, and they just give you a little touch of everything. But then you get to here and you're like, oh, well, there's not much to do, is there? There's a calculator to calculate. That's fine and dandy, like sour candy. And then you get chess, and I can't seem to beat anybody because I really don't know how to play chess that well. I know the rules, I can't really pull off the Karkovsky entrapment if you ask me to, so we're just gonna bypass chess there. We get e-reader, which we'll get into in a second because obviously that's the whole point of this thing. You get weather, which is going to be weather, and it's going to pull from the internet, of course. This is a smartphone to that degree as well, so you do get wireless data communication, you get Wi-Fi, so all of that is as it is. You will get Wi-Fi and data communication that helps you to do maps, that helps you to do weather, that helps you to do suggestions. So it does pull. It's very cherry picker. It picks and chooses, but it does pull from the internet. You do get recorder. You can record some stuff. You can take some notes. This is almost like Google Keep, but it's only on here. And you get your music, which surprisingly does come with a fair amount of preloaded music, and it does play from the bottom speaker as we said, so it's not going to be sharing with the earpiece. In typical Mudita fashion, their speakers are miraculous. They really do sneak under the radar when it comes to the quality of it all. Meditation. Now, they've had this on their clocks right here, and on 2 of them actually. And what it is you would set your time, you press play, and then it would give you a countdown, and then, well, you'll see. You have finished 0 minutes of meditation. Make me feel bad about it, why don't you? So this will have dings and dongs and all that. You have chimes. You can do the chime interval every 1 minute, 2 minutes, or just when it starts. And you have statistics so you can see how long you've meditated each and every day. And that is what they promote, is one of the 9/10 applications they give you is meditation, because it is supposed to promote wellness. And that's really the only other thing this clock did as well, was the meditation. Now we will go into maps and then finish off with e-readers. So you will see that you can download your region maps as you zoom into them. So you would click download and then it would calculate it and download it. Once you have it, it becomes far more detailed, and then you can choose your route, you can choose your from and to. It's not very fast, and we're on full Wi-Fi here in the studio, 5G, and we are just kind of trudging along. Now, I will note that it does stay in A2 mode, and how we know that is you will see that if you scroll it and let go, nothing happens. You didn't see any refresh, we didn't see anything change, we didn't see anything update in the actual EPD, the electronic paper display. It's always ready for you. So if you go like this, you see it doesn't flash and get into the mode that allows you to do that. It's always active to that degree. So that's good, because they don't want it to be in a beautiful mode for the maps, because you're accessing the maps to a quicker degree, to a quicker pace than you would an e-reader, for example. So you can manage maps, plan route, and go settings. There's a lot of different things you can do here. You can set the storage to the SD card, etc. if one is present. And as we said, if you zoom out and you go to a different place, if you go outside of Japan, for example, you go over to China or something, and you zoom in, it's going to ask you do not have this region map, would you like to download it, etc. So that is maps, and that is really the whole phone. So we're going to wrap it up with e-reading. We're going to be using a public domain book for this, of course, A Christmas Carol. Now, how is this to read? It's really, really, really small. And I'm talking ouch level small for e-reading. And you might say, well, that's not what it's for. Well, you're right and you're wrong. One, they're using an e-paper screen. 2, they give you all the tools, the storage, everything else to read e-paper books, and one of the apps is called e-reader. So they want you to do e-reading, but to give you any sort of an example next to a comparable e-reader, look how big that is. Oh, maybe turn the glow light off for you guys. It's not even close. It is so much smaller, and obviously it's smaller because it's small. But what I mean is, to give you an example, if you are looking at this to maybe say, you know what, maybe I'll buy it for reading because it's cheap and cheerful and it's small. Well, you got to know what you're missing out on. And this is similar font, and you'll see that it's just not even close. It really is in a different world. Now, it's compact, it's easy to use, and it does do it well. It's snappy, it's fairly quick, and it doesn't look that bad. Although, again, you don't have any access to speed modes. And if you guys are just joining us in the e-reader world, speed modes is usually something you can find somewhere on the UI, the user interface, that allows you to make the device faster or slower to your choice. but there's nothing to do with speed modes here, which means it's only ever going to look like this. So we have a great deal of staining in the background of anything you've viewed prior. So for example, you'll see that all the elements are still there from the previous shot, and there's really no way to get rid of it except tap the center to bring up something else, and that clears it. But then when you clear the thing that helped you clear the other thing, that shows up. So in terms of e-reading, it does get a fail because there's just nothing you can do but read books on it, and that may be the point, but it doesn't really do it very well, and there's nothing that assists you in getting a good reading experience with what they've given you. They give you no text augmentation, they give you no online services, and I'm not talking we need the internet with us all the time, because that's not the point of this unit, but they didn't even go as far as to give you access to public domain books like Onyx and Bigme and JD and Xiaomi and iReader and all these manufacturers that have their own bookstore. They didn't even so much as give you a book preloaded. We had to preload this on here. So things like meditation and music are all set up for you, but the e-reading experience, although one of the few applications you actually do have, they don't give you any tools to get it done. And PDFs are terrible. Don't buy this for PDFs. It's way too small. That is just too small. There's nothing you can do on that. It's not too bad when it comes to the overall speed of it. Surprisingly, it is faster than other devices, but again, you're locked into that speed mode. You're locked into whatever it is, if it's A2, if it's refined, if it's X, we don't know because there's no other comparable speed modes, but you are always locked into that, so your image quality does suffer, whether you're on PDFs, whether you're on manga. Manga is formatted depending on the way the file is formatted, so you can't even really go in and change any of that because the books at least give you a text thing here, but the PDFs give you nothing. A lot of the time they might give you justification or fit to width or fit to height. They give you nothing on that. So the e-reading section is fairly lackluster when it comes to the overall content execution and the delivery of a proper experience. There's nothing really there. So camera's the last thing, and then we'll let you guys go. Let's throw a Kindle box in the shot and get this going, shall we? So, do we have color on the screen? No, it is not a color screen. Does the image show up as black and white on the phone? Yes, if you take a picture and then you view it directly on the phone through the gallery, it's going to show you that picture in black and white, but this will be in color, as we will show you when it comes time to put it on your computer, because obviously it doesn't have a black and white image sensor, it just has a black and white screen. And you see we loaded some other pictures on here through the PC, so just USB cable allowed us to put some pictures on here, and they don't look very good. These are our color test photos. All you can do is really delete and rename them, but that's pretty much where it begins and ends. And you can turn on the lights as well, or the flash, and there's no other camera settings. There's literally just that, and if you want something outside of that, you are just a little bit left in the dust, because it is very, very simple. Now, it might be nice, someone dings your car and you need their license plate. It's good to have a camera, but it's not very quick and it's not very accurate. And if you try to shake and go, if you're in a tense situation, it's a very blurry kind of artifacting experience. It's not a very good camera, although it's better to have something and not need it than to need it and not have it. The Mudita Kompakt is not a mistake, nor would we want to project it as such. It's just living in this world of instant gratification, high-speed processing, 12 gigs of RAM on your smartphone, Leica image sensors on your camera, scrolling through social media. It's hard to find any reason, promise, or viability in such an underachieving, underperforming unit like the Kompakt. But that's not a fair comparison, because that's why the Kompakt was made. The Mudita Kompakt was made precisely to avoid and deter the things listed above. The things we get lost in, the things that distract us, and the things that take away too much of our time. That is exactly what Mudita set out to achieve with this smartphone. A smartphone that doesn't project itself like other smartphones. It does look like something from the mid-2000s. It doesn't have an APK installer for all your side-loaded games. But what it does do, indeed, is as advertised. It makes you use it, realize that it can't do anything that your regular smartphone can do, so you simply get what you need to do done, put it down, and you just enjoy more time. Thank you guys all so much for watching and supporting us over the years. If you want to see anything else on this phone, let us know in the comments section down below, but for now, we'll see you on the next one.